Hi everyone, my name is Victoria Fernandez and welcome to my channel. I like to inspire mental health. If you're not already subscribed to my channel, please subscribe. I post weekly videos about mental health and my experience with bipolar disorder. Now, I know I have not been very consistent in this past month with posting videos, and it's because there's been so much going on, whether it was with my finals and classes and other things. But I am back and I am super excited for this year, and I hope all y'all had a great new year. And I'm excited because I'm going to be bringing people from my mom to talk about her experience with having me and my mental illness and all that kind of stuff, and also my past roommates and what it was like to live with somebody with a mental illness and so much more. So I'm really excited for all the content that's coming this year, and I hope that you are too. So with that, this week's video is going to be about what it's like to live with more than one mental illness. And before we start, I do want to say that you guys should check out the playlist that I've made for you guys to see my videos in sections, whether that is by bipolar videos or videos of my experience with Google or anxiety and so much more. And also comment down below if you want me to make a different playlist or other types of videos. So this week's video, as I said, is about what it's like to have different mental illnesses, and I wanted to talk about that because I've talked to you guys about how I have bipolar disorder, but I've also told you guys about my OCD mental illness and how that affects my life. So basically, to kind of talk about it from the beginning, when I was little, I had symptoms of OCD when it came to compulsive thinking and having to do certain actions, or if not, I would create scenarios like my parents were gonna die or stuff like that. And that has continuously affected my life to this day today. And that especially comes along whenever I have anxiety, or I just am stressed about something, then I have those scenarios over and over in my head. It has come differently and it has evolved into different things as I've grown older, but it's definitely something that affects me. And I would go so far along to say that it affects me more than the bipolar disorder today. So I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder when I was around 17 years old, and I also had other tests which were like, you have traits of OCD, and it's hard when you have several mental illnesses to not confuse them. Just like the same way that you can be misdiagnosed with something, like I believe that I was misdiagnosed with ADHD, and that's why for the longest time I took ADHD medications, which I did not need because I stopped taking them and I felt so much better. And I could concentrate, I got good grades, So basically, in my very first video, I talked about my symptoms. I mostly focused on the bipolar disorder, but I kind of combined bipolar and OCD. And I got a lot of comments from you guys telling me that's not bipolar disorder. Like, one part is, but the other part you're describing, you have to put it straight and say that's OCD. And the thing is that at the time of that recording, I wasn't sure of the differences. I was going through my own journey, just as all of you are, of figuring out my mental illness, what it means for me, what it means for my life. I was stable and I was a lot better, but it was still my journey. And I've learned so much through this YouTube channel. And basically, I described all these symptoms, which is very confusing because whenever you have one mental illness, usually there's like things that come out of it, right? Like you can have anxiety, you could have ADHD, you could have OCD, and it can all be put into one box. And then sometimes the medications treat like several symptoms up to 2 or 3 mental illnesses. In my case, the reason that my first medication I was on didn't completely make me feel good and I switched wasn't because it wasn't working for the bipolar disorder. It was actually because it wasn't helping me with my anxiety and the OCD. But see, I thought that they were two things together, and they are not. They're two different things that should be treated differently, or with a medication that can treat both things. So it was definitely very confusing because every time I described my story, I would describe these thoughts when I was little. But the thing is that the bipolar aspect of it came as a teenager. As I grew older, that's what I was diagnosed with at first. And then I think it's been a journey to figure out the differences of it, and it can be so hard sometimes and confusing because there's that phase of like, oh, I have like another mental illness, like what else can I have, like all that kind of stuff. And then there's also the like, who am I type of thing, right? It's like, okay, these are my symptoms. And there's also, this is very important, the part that sometimes when we have more than one mental illness, we tend to ignore the second one. We tend to ignore the one that's not directly treated. And we become, used to feeling that way, used to the compulsive thoughts, used to, it's like, life is just supposed to be like that. But that's not the reality. Oftentimes, if you're medicated, you have other symptoms. You should go back to your doctor and talk to them about those symptoms to see what can be done, because your life can always be better. literally, like some people think that mental illnesses cannot be cured or cannot be better, but everybody, you know, if they got the right help, it gets so much better, and you can live a life that's, you know, good. You can do your jobs, you can go to school and be happy, and that's really important. So for me specifically, through the comments, I've been able to figure out myself a lot more, and it's been really important because that way I can actually separate them and understand, you know, like, I'm not having bipolar episodes anymore, but what's there? The compulsive thoughts are still there. Are they as bad as they were a few years ago? No, they're not, because I've done a lot of internal work and all that kind of stuff, but they're still there. And that's something that I need to work on. And I've heard a lot of other people who say they have multiple mental illnesses, and it's kind of a hard struggle because you're not realizing that you have multiple mental illnesses, or you're not really taking care of both, you're taking care of one, and that doesn't allow you to be the best version of yourself. So it's really important to get that help. It's really important to find a psychiatrist that, you know, cares about you, that's there whenever you need them, that's, you know, a good one, because sometimes a lot of psychiatrists, not everyone, but a lot of them just prescribe and look over the surface, and that's not good. You know, get that second opinion. Go to one that you feel like they're actually investing time in you, because a lot of them don't, and it's so important to get that. And someone who actually keeps like a whole record, detailed background, asks you questions about when you were little, your parents, their backgrounds, and that's very important towards your diagnosis and towards feeling better. I think a lot of people give up on getting help because they don't find the right person. I myself have gone to some bad psychiatrists. I also have gone to a really great one, and it's not hard. It's hard to find a good one. It's hard to find one that will actually go back in time and understand you as a person and not just you as somebody who's coming in like, come on, like, you know, come and go. But basically, one time, I've told you all about this in previous videos, but I decided to get a third opinion, and I went to a different psychiatrist, and she, without barely knowing anything about me, gave me a medication that numbed my whole body, and it was terrible. I felt like I was seeing things that weren't there. It was just a whole mess. So that's the importance, but that's probably for another video, the importance of finding the right person, the right psychiatrist, the right psychologist that works for you, because those are the ones that are going to help you find the answers, and the ones that are going to make you feel better. But to sum it all up, it is hard to have multiple mental illnesses, not only because it's like this whole identity crisis, but it's also hard to find the right medications. Like, you don't want to be taking so many medications. At least in my case, it's not, oh my God, like I have to take another medication. It's hard, but sometimes that's what we need to feel better, or maybe therapy works. But it's about finding and understanding what we need to feel better, not getting used to these things. Like, not getting used to the compulsive thoughts in my case. Like, it's not like, oh, it'll never get better, I just have to like live with it. No, there are ways to make it better. There are ways to, you know, make them slowly go away, or not let them control your life. And I've seen that with the medication that I take now for bipolar, but it's also used for OCD. So that's why I've been so much better on this medication than I was on my first medication. And so if you're feeling like that, if you're treated for one mental illness, but you're still having several symptoms that are just, you know, affecting your life, go back to your doctor, tell them what you're feeling, and make sure to tell them that and to differentiate the differences. And also to be aware of being misdiagnosed with something. Like for me, with the ADHD, I actually didn't need medication, but whenever you're depressed, you also struggle to concentrate. But anyways, I wanted to make this video because I know that a lot of people have that. A lot of people are diagnosed with one thing, but under that, there's so many other things, such as anxiety and all that. And it's important to know the difference. And I hope that this video does help in some way. And please let me know what else you would like to see in this channel, because it's super important for me, and I am super excited for everything that this year holds. And I will be posting videos consistently. You know, last year was just a little crazy, but I look forward to the future, and I hope you liked this video. And if you did, please like it, comment, subscribe, share with somebody who you think should watch this video. And always remember that there is a light at the end of the tunnel, and a bad day does not mean a bad life.